So this plant is a great plant to have around for the coming zombie apocalypse. Okay? This is called Comfrey, and it is great for all sorts of skin wounds and skin ailments, rashes, burns, cuts, abrasions, things like that. Some herbalists will give it to people internally for things like broken bones, and it helps to knit tissues back together is what it does. The leaf and the root are both useful there. I don't really recommend using it internally unless you're working with somebody that really knows what they're doing, because it can be rather harsh on the liver. But topically, it's great. I usually use the root and the leaf in some sort of salve for skin healing. You can, about salves at all. So one of the ways you can make a salve with something like this is you take some good organic oil and you soak the leaves and the roots in the oil for a very long time. You can even heat it just slightly. Once that medicine is out of the plant and into the oil, you can strain it out and then scrape beeswax into that warm oil until it gets to a consistency of a salve. Usually I keep a spoon around that you'll dip the spoon in and let it cool for a minute and see what the consistency is. So you do little by little with the beeswax until it gets to the consistency. You don't want it too hard because you don't want to have to rub it hard into a cut. But and it works so well that if you have a deep puncture wound or a really deep cut, you should wait a while before you actually use it, because it will heal up the outside before the inside. So you let that inside heal up a little bit before you put it on the outside. In fact, I'm waiting to use some of it on this with probably another day or two before I can do that. But that's Comfrey, and it's great
Is
stuff.
it also good for mulch? Just
It is.
mulching?
It is. I was going to get there next. So when you plant Comfrey, just know that whenever you plant Comfrey, you will always have Comfrey in that spot. It's not invasive, like your neighbors aren't going to find it popping up in their spot, but without like a backhoe to go many feet around it and many feet down, it's always going to be there. All you need is a piece of root that big, and a new one is going to pop up from it. But it's great for the soil around trees, so all of your fruit trees, if you're inclined to plant some Comfrey underneath of the fruit tree, for one thing, it blooms later in the year. It's almost done blooming now, so it'll keep the pollinators happy around that tree for a certain period of time. Planting other things that flower at different times during the season is great too, because that way your pollinators are all going to be really happy around your fruit trees. But what you can do with Comfrey when you have it around your fruit trees is something called chop and drop. So you take the leaves, you rip them up, and you make kind of a mulch under your fruit trees, and it makes a great, it adds great nutrients to the soil. It's thick leaf, so if you have enough of it there, it can help with weed control and things like that.
And the good news is you chop it down a couple times and the garden keeps it 3 times and it just
It pops right back up. Yeah, you can take this back to the ground 3 or 4 times during the year, and it's still going to pop up and be very vigorous. So just be aware that when be committed. When you plant it, it will always be in that spot. So